As of August 22nd, 2023, this is how Liverpool's transfer window looks like this summer. So far, Liverpool have had 6 permanent departures from the club. Arthur Melo's loan expired, and on top of that, they brought in 3 permanent players. Those players being Alexis McAllister, Dominic Szoboszlai, and Wataru Endo. All 3 players are midfield signings, and it seems as if Liverpool are looking to sign some more midfielders. Hello, everybody. I'm Sideline Sedo. I'm going to discuss all the Liverpool transfer news that you need to know for today, August 22nd, 2023. I cover all things Premier League, Liverpool, and generally related to football on the channel. So if you have an itch that needs to be scratched for those kind of content needs, consider subscribing here on the Sideline Sedo YouTube channel, but don't subscribe yet. If you make it to the end of the video, why not? Just consider it. Well, let's get into this news regarding Andre Trindade, who, if you haven't been following too much, you might not be familiar with this target, but this is a name that has floated in and out of transfer rumors for Liverpool all summer. Now he's playing for Fluminense. He's currently in the Copa Libertadores, and they're competing in a quarterfinal, I believe, which the second leg is on transfer deadline day. And Fluminense has stated that they do not want to sell the player whatsoever this summer. They want to keep him until at least January. So Liverpool's kind of reached the point where they're trying to break through in negotiations. 35 million pounds was rejected, or 35 million euros. I forget the exact denomination. Fluminense want 40. They have no intention of selling Andre this summer, but there's also the very real possibility that Andre could potentially not be, he could not be motivated to want to leave because he could win a very, very big trophy, continentally for his team in Brazil. And I mean, more on this guy. He's, a player who is from the same footballing academy as Fabinho. He's a player who's very tenacious. We'll look at his stats a little later on, but we're going to get into discussing some more potential midfield options. There's been a lot of stories suggesting that Liverpool will get another midfield signing at the very least. Maybe not like a true number 6, like a proper destroyer, but somebody who's more of like an 8 or just a different profile midfielder. And I think that's why we're kind of getting linked to the likes of, Andre Trindade or Ryan Gravenberch. Liverpool and United have been kind of eyeing up a deal or a switch for him. Bayern has kind of been unsure as to whether or not they want to sell him. Will they, won't they? It seems every day it's switching as to whether or not they have the desire to part ways with Ryan Gravenberch, but we'll keep an eye on that. I, have seen a lot of fans question whether Gravenberch would be a good fit. I think the biggest thing is if you get in Gravenberch based on registration, kind of quotas and stuff for homegrown players and non-homegrown players, since he's born after a certain date, you don't have to register him this season. So he could take up Thiago's, homegrown registration slot next season, realistically, and you can get him for relatively cheap, and you can bring in another midfielder like an Andre Trindade or potentially Doucouré or somebody else. But we're going to keep rolling with the news. This is just a continuation of the news in this article that was reported by Emmanuel Luiz. This is just from Anfield Edition, basically stating that personal terms have been agreed by Andre Trindade and Liverpool, and he would be kind of intrigued into potentially moving this summer. But while we're kind of riding this high of, continuous good news, there is a bit of malarkey at play that I do want to talk about from the one and only Rudy Galletti. Rudy is basically saying that Al Ittihad are very determined to get Mohamed Salah's signature this summer. They are, looking at potential avenues to make him the most expensive deal in the history of the Saudi Pro League. 100 million is what's being reported to have been sent to Liverpool, $100 million, that is, to convince especially Klopp, who rejected the idea of his farewell so far, to let him go. I think this is just hogwash. I'll be straight up. There's no chance that with 9 days in the window that Liverpool could sign or sell Mohamed Salah, let him leave, not give him like a true proper send off as arguably the best player in Liverpool's modern history, offensively at least, and basically go out and take, whatever, 80, 90, 100 million pounds and reinvest that into an effective purchase. I mean, it's just not going to work. The market for right wingers, specifically left-footed right wingers, is very thin. That's why we don't even have a backup for Mo at the club. So I'm just going to say that's BS. Also, more good news. Alexis McAllister's 3-match suspension has been overturned. A claim of wrongful dismissal for his red card for Bournemouth. It's honestly fantastic. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, wow, the PGMOL has to, have all their praises sung. But let's be honest, this is just like the right decision. This is what should have been done. There shouldn't have been a red in the first place. Thankfully, Liverpool won. It didn't impact the outcome of the game, but this is just, there's no praise that needs to be given to the refs here, because this was just like a failure of oversight, really, at the end of the day. And we're going to get into my lineup and some potential lineups with Andre Trindade, and we're going to discuss some other alternative options for Liverpool to sign this summer in terms of defenders potentially, because there hasn't been a lot of news. I feel like I'd love to start a discussion regarding that on the channel. But so this is Wilco Football. This is his lineup for this weekend, his or hers. I don't know who's behind this channel, but that's basically what I went with. I also went with a 4-3-3, having Endo as the sole defensive mid. Standard. Actually, gotta switch Konate and Verge right there. But, standard 4-3-3 Liverpool setup. Trent, Konate, Van Dijk, Robertson, Endo, McAllister, Szoboszlai, Gakpo, Salah, Diaz. Back line speaks for itself. Endo, I feel like you just have to start him, especially with Curtis Jones rumored to be out for Sunday's game. McAllister, since there's no red, he certainly starts. Szoboszlai, phenomenal performance, man, the match last season. Definitely deserves to start. And then here, Diaz has been really cooking down that left wing. He scored a goal last week, or this past game week, I should say, in game week 2 against Bournemouth, which was very nice to see. Gakpo, I think, has been playing kind of in this, midfield role here, sort of kind of dropping in and having, when McAllister kind of plays in this deeper role, we'll see Gakpo kind of play in this midfield as well. But now that we have Endo could kind of start here at defensive mid, and, I think that's very great. But let's say that something happens like this. AFCON is this season. Salah goes off to AFCON for however long to, represent his national team, captain his national team in the international continental competition. And Liverpool need to kind of change a formation, or maybe figure out something on the right wing to not have Salah there. This is just kind of like a total throwing out there, but let's say Salah kind of comes off, and then you have someone like, say, Andre Trindade come in, and I just put 23. I didn't know what number to give him, but you could do something like this is what I'm thinking. Almost kind of play almost like a 4-2-3-1. So you have McAllister kind of here in a bit more like advanced position. You have Luis Diaz here. You have Szoboszlai here and Gakpo up top, or even, Jota, or, you could do, say, Nunez there. Nunez could play there as like a proper kind of, striker. And then you could kind of have this formation where Andre Trindade, who's very kind of, as we'll see very shortly, similar to maybe like a Thiago type of 6, or a little bit more kind of not the biggest tackler, but huge at blocking and intercepting, if my memory serves correct. But yeah, so I feel like with Andre Trindade here, let's just use this formation. Even if you did something like this where Endo is your sole DM and you played Andre more as like an 8 or a 10, not like really a 10, but like kind of more advanced, let's just say. So he's not like, it's like still a single pivot. You could do something like this. Obviously, Liverpool have kind of converted to a back 3 at times. We've seen kind of Robertson be isolated at times there as well. But you could do something maybe like this, where you swap Trent and Andre Trindade. Andre Trindade plays more as like the box 2 DM here, and he covers for Trent here, and Endo kind of covers here for Robertson. And if you see Robertson go forward, Endo kind of drops there, McAllister shifts back, and you could kind of retain this shape with, maybe Lucho coming in, have Suboslai down here on the right, Trent kind of right here, McAllister here, and then, Andre Trindade and Endo kind of blocking. You could really kind of start to see a very wild looking image of Liverpool in terms of how they could alternate different positions in and out of play. Obviously, this example is very zany with, Suboslai right at the right wing and Andre Trindade starting with McAllister and Endo. I don't know how realistic that is, but just in terms of the versatility, you still have, the likes of Harvey Elliott, you have Curtis Jones, you have Thiago still. A lot of players who could provide Liverpool with a lot of, creative spark off the bench, so to speak, from midfield, and just some kind of composure in the center of park to be able to play a whole host of different, formations in and out of possession of the ball. But I do think that in terms of lining up on Sunday, this is the lineup that we'll see Liverpool go with right here. Gakpo up top, Diaz on the left, Salah on the right, Szoboszlai at right center mid, McAllister at left center mid, Endo at defensive mid, then the back line of Trent, Konate, Van Dijk, Robertson, and Allison. Quickly, we're going to look at some of these stats. These are for the men's next 8 competitions, so it's not like the big 5 that would be like Spain, Germany, England, France, Italy. Spain, Germany, England, France, Italy. Yeah, big 5. And then so the next 8's like the Netherlands, Portugal, the MLS, all sorts of different leagues. But very, very quickly, very good passer, Andre Trindade. This is his FBref profile. Very good passer. Attempts a lot of passes, completes a lot of passes. Not the most progressive, kind of like, 59 could be bigger, could be a higher number, but he kind of does carry the ball a lot better, and he takes on players really well. But as you can see, he's more of like a tackler and interceptor than he is gonna, be winning headers and, kind of clearing the ball and making big blocks. He's kind of more of a pressing defensive mid. So that makes a lot of sense. Very similar to Manuel Ugarte. How he'll get on in terms of his fit at PSG, we'll see, but he would have been, it seems, a very good fit at Liverpool as well. Also, the fact that he's Uruguayan, he could have had a very big connection with Darwin. But moving forward, if Andre Trindade truly is the person that Jurgen Klopp wants to add to his midfield, I say go for it. He looks impressive to me. He strikes me as a player who, is really kind of just waiting to make that next leap, making that leap into Europe, going to a big team, and then, his market value quadrupling or, quintupling over the course of a couple seasons. He does wear the number 7 for Fluminense, but obviously Luis Diaz has that number here at Liverpool. And finally, someone who's been linked to Liverpool a bit recently in the last couple days, Piero Hincapié. And I'm very quickly going to say, if this person does come to Liverpool, I will root for them. And I honestly think they'd be a great fit. I do have one just criticism. The agent here for Football Division Worldwide, verified since June 1st, 2023, is also the agency that represents Moise Caicedo. And as everybody knows, this Manuel Sierra guy, he is responsible for kind of, allegedly responsible, I'll say, for very, very kind of rudely handling negotiations with Liverpool, almost using Liverpool to up the transfer value and fill his pockets. So I don't think I would really care for us pursuing Piero Hincapié. Let's just look at his FBref stats. As you can see, his stats give you a good reason as to why you would want to. He's very good at creating shot creating actions as a center back in the Big Five leagues. He's very solid at carrying the ball as a center back, tackling. His blocks are pretty decent. He's very progressive as a center back. As a fullback, he is very good defensively. Completes a decent amount of passes as well. As a fullback, he's kind of similar to like a Dan Burn or an Aspilicueta. Though those kind of feel very fair. And then Longley also feels like kind of a fair comparison at center back. But out of these players, honestly, I'm just at a loss for who Liverpool goes for. If it's not Hincapie, which it could be, it could potentially not be. Who did Liverpool get? There's players like this Waldemar Anton guy who looks kind of interesting, but he's also, 27, and I don't know if Liverpool needs something like that. Liverpool need a player who's at this, 21, 22, 23 price range. So I think that's where we'll end the video for today. Comment down below, who should Liverpool sign at center back? As of right now, the center mid kind of rumors seem to be swirling around the likes of Andre Trindade and Ryan Gravenberch, and maybe another potential possible alternative in midfield. But I really want to know who you would want Liverpool to sign at center back. If I had one shout at it, honestly, I think this is who I would want Liverpool to sign. In all honesty, Giorgio Scalvini plays for Atalanta, very young, and just look at those stats. I mean, can you get better than these stats for, a 19-year-old center back from Serie A, someone who will more than likely, if he doesn't end up at Liverpool, end up at a team like, say, Juve or Inter or AC Milan. And while people might say, well, we need a left center back, he's right-footed. At the end of the day, we've seen some tactical shakeups with the likes of Timber and Akanji playing at left back for both Arsenal and City respectively this season. But my biggest counter to that would be, well, Virgil van Dijk is right-footed and he plays left center back. And based on these, kind of passing stats, he probably wouldn't be the primary, passer of the ball at the back. He would definitely be more of a, proper, tackle, intercept, block, destroyer of a center back, just kind of like a stopper. But as we've seen, Konate has kind of been given a bit more license to roam in the last couple of game weeks since the season has started. So who knows? I think he would be a good shout. But at the end of the day, the market for left center backs or players that can play at left center back is very thin. So once again, comment down below, who would you want Liverpool to sign in terms of, center backs, defenders, maybe a right back, just anybody. Truly sound off in the comments. And what do you think of Ryan Gravenberch or Andre Trindade signing for Liverpool? Thank you so much for watching. If you made it so far to the end of the video, consider subscribing if you haven't already. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed. I'm Sideline Sedo. Peace.